starting with the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC West. I mean, they've won the AFC West how many years in a row now? I mean,
6 or something.
A lot.
So, I mean, now with how crazy that division is, I mean, do we see them repeating, or what are we thinking here for the Chiefs this upcoming year?
I don't think they repeat, and I just say that too because of what we were looking at earlier. Have you seen their schedule?
Yeah, it's brutal.
Their schedule's brutal.
The whole division schedule.
The whole division.
It's brutal.
But like
the Chiefs,
Denver has like 4 or 5 games where you're like, those are like gimme games. Like they're going to have those. But the Chiefs, there's like, I think it's the Texans and the Jags are the only two who are like, okay, they'll probably win those games. The rest of them, it's like playoff caliber team.
Hey,
Dick
Mills.
Dick Mills.
Dick Mills. We don't know.
He just might.
Probably not, but that'd be cool. But yeah.
All right, we just
done?
Okay. Yeah.
My bad.
I mean, I have more to say. I was just
Oh yeah, I mean, I think the Chiefs. I think like if you look on paper, like all the 4 teams, I think on paper they have probably the least talent. Outside, like if you go position by position,
the division's
like
stacked.
outside of quarterback, tight end, and like Chris Jones, like they don't have a lot of like big name guys like everyone else in the division does. They still have Mahomes. They still have Andy Reid. I think they make the playoffs for sure. I'm not confident saying they're going to win the division. I have one other team that's going to win. I have them going like second or third, but I like 11 wins, something like that. I mean, they're still going to be formidable. They're going to win shootouts. The offense is going to be great. So we'll see how the defense holds up.
If everyone splits the season, if everyone goes 3-3 within the division, I honestly think all 4 of these teams could make the playoffs.
Has that ever happened before?
I don't know
with all 4.
I don't know.
No, but the new format, it is possible though. The new playoff format, it is possible.
You have 3 wild cards.
So if they go
3 wild cards,
they're definitely gonna have 2.
Yeah,
they're
sure,
gonna have
100%.
2. So
I mean, to say they're probably gonna have 3.
Also with the Chiefs too, like I don't want to count them out, but I also feel like they're in this weird, like they're not going to tank and trying to rebuild, but they're trying to get young, cheap players because they're just paid Pat. They're going to pay Kelsey whenever he's ready to go. I think they're in this weird situation where they want to make the playoffs and they obviously want to compete for a Super Bowl. But I think like in terms of what the general manager's thinking, I think he's hoping that they're a few games over 500. So they can get a better first-round pick and better picks instead of drafting at the end of the first round. So I'm not saying they're going to rebuild. I feel like they're in a weird position where they have a lot of young players they're trying to play, and then they're trying to get the most out of them for how cheap they are, and then also just trying to kind of set up next season because they didn't do a whole lot other than sign Justin Reed. So other than signing Justin Reed, they didn't add a ton of people on defense. Obviously on offense, they added a lot of speedsters and things like that. But in terms of the defense, which is like the biggest question with them every year, they didn't address that as much. So I really see them kind of struggling early on like they did this year again, and then picking it up come playoff time and getting after it.
I don't agree with that philosophy, honestly.
I think if you have Mahomes,
if you have Mahomes,
you're
Andy
competing
Reid,
for a
trying
Super
to
Bowl.
win.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think they're shedding to get a better pick.
No.
But like
I think they're in like a weird spot right now, though.
They
It's
are.
weird.
Yeah, I think as long as you have Mahomes and Kelsey, you're going to compete.
If you have Mahomes, you're competing for a Super Bowl.
And their defense was ranked 8th last year, and they did lose Tyrann Mathieu. I think Melvin Gordon was hurt. They lost Javarius Ward. But I think the biggest thing is they lost Tyreek Hill because he opened up the whole offense, obviously.
Right.
And they added Valdez-Scantling.
Juju.
And they have Juju. And they also have Mecole. So, I mean, Valdez-Scantling and Mecole, I think they're not.
Maybe Sky Moore can produce.
Sky Moore, I thought he was fast. He's actually not even that fast. He's more of like a short route guy.
I thought he was like a burner.
Shifty.
No, he's shifty, like between the 20s type of guy.
Like he would make you miss.
Yeah,
but
I think Valdez-Scantling and Mecole will kind of, still fill that role, hit the deep bombs there. But one thing I think that's interesting is I think that we're going to see them run the ball more this year. Their
O-line is great.
Their O-line provided at least 3 yards before contact for the running backs on 30% of the carries, the highest rate in the league. And I honestly think, too, Ronald Jones could come in and actually be a big factor because I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is just –
Ronald Jones?
Yeah. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is just not a good running back at all. And like we saw last year, too –
Ronald's going to be that between the tackle guy.
Oh, yeah. I think Ronald's going to be big
a really
for him.
good Thunder and Lightning combo for him.
But I think because last year, too, like whenever they started to heat up, because, they were trying to Mahomes hero ball and all that, when they got good, they were running the ball, they were dumping it off to the running backs, and they were hitting quick slants, quick drags. The defense was firing. Because that's the thing with Mahomes, like, we still haven't even seen a good running game yet for him.
Mm-hmm.
And any running back that's been on
Kareem
an
Hunt,
Andy,
when he was there, I mean,
Yeah.
he was good, and that was scary.
good.
Yeah.
Mahomes is
Yeah.
even better now than he was then, and like I think that they could be scary come playoff time if they have like a legit running game, and the O-line's going to be great. The defense is pretty legitimate, and I think that could be scary. And then they have Juju and Sky Moore that's going to be those quick routes, those quick easy in and out routes. Like I think they're going to look a lot different, but like I said, I think if they can get that running game going, which I think Ronald Jones is actually going to boost that running game, Jerick McKinnon could be a pass catching back. I think Edwards-Hilaire's only like a third.
He honestly
back.
could get filtered out if
He
Ronald
could.
Jones and
Yeah.
you could do
Yeah.
Jerick McKinnon and Ronald
Just
Jones.
the eye
and
test
that'd
does
be
not
fine.
lie. Like when you watch him play,
He's not.
he looks like a he looks like a JV player playing on varsity.
Yeah.
Like he just
I mean,
he
he's
looks
And he
not
always gets
that
hurt like a
bad.
JV
He always gets
player
hurt, but
does.
he's not
I don't-
horrible. He
he's
averages
not
four,
good.
But
he
he's not-
averages 4.4 yards a carry last year. I
Well,
mean,
did you
that's
hear
not
that?
bad.
Did you hear the stat? I just 33 yards per carry before contact. Like I think any running back that has Patrick Mahomes, a top 5 O-line,
You're
and
not-
an Andy
you're
Reid
facing like
offense,
5 or 6 in the
that
box
running back
every
should put up
time.
at least 1,100 yards if they're like getting a good workload. And
Yeah.
every running back before too that's been in the Andy Reid offense pops.
Well, he's also
This is
he
the
has
first
been
time,
hurt.
like
he
all
hasn't had
those
a-
old Eagle days, like Brian Westbrook, all these guys were popping. Like we
LaShawn
haven't
McCoy.
we haven't seen one pop, and I think Rojo, like fantasy wise, I'm
He can get a lot of
fantasy.
touchdowns.
Yeah.
The problem with Rojo,
I
is he just
just-
can't catch. But he'll
I
be a good
just see the
fantasy
Chiefs
option.
because I still see them as a playoff team. I'm not saying they're trying to rebuild, but I think they're in this weird position where they obviously want to compete, but at the same time they want to add on better younger players because they don't. Other than Pat Mahomes, other than the Trent McDuffie guy they just drafted, other than Justin Reed, who's 25.
George Karlaftis.
Korlaftis.
We'll have to see. That's what we don't know yet, but we'll have to see. But it's just like I feel like this weird position where if they want to win, obviously, but if they're not contending for a Super Bowl, because I don't think they're really going to be contending for a Super Bowl this year. I think they'll be a playoff team. I just think with that in mind, I think they're going to try and get some draft capital building up because they are going to be kind of strapped with paying Mahomes in the long run for how much they paid him. So I know they want to compete, and you're going to compete with Mahomes. It's just I feel like they're in this weird spot where they're not the most talented team in that division. They didn't they didn't have the most additions in the offseason. They didn't change a whole lot up. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's true. But they're just in a weird spot purely because of how good this division is. They'll smoke everyone else. It's just when it comes to the division play, I'm wondering how they're going to do.
I mean, if
Because
you have
that's
Andy
really what's
Reid,
going to hurt
if
them.
you got
If
Andy
you have
Reid,
Andy
Travis
Reid, Patrick
Kelce,
Mahomes. I think as long as you have Patrick Mahomes, no matter what else you have, you can compete for a Super Bowl. And like I think to your point, kind of like they see the big picture, like they're trying to build for the long term. And obviously they're like, we know we have Patrick for the next 10 to 12, maybe 15 years, and every year that he's healthy, we're competing for a Super Bowl that year. And so obviously they're not going all in right now because I think they're going for like that big picture.
And that contract he
longevity.
signed too in 3
Yeah, they
years.
have-
that
yeah.
contract is going to look
it's like a steal.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
What was
god.
It was a 10-year
It's a
deal.
10-year
right?
deal.
Yeah.
Like 4 years into the deal, it's gonna be like this guy's severely underpaid.
Oh yeah.
So it's gonna help.
I mean, the
them a lot build their
quarterbacks just
team.
go up every year.
I mean, I think Dak makes as much as him now.
Yeah.
You're gonna see Lamar
That's
make
wild.
more. Deshaun Watson makes more.
no, they got a steal with that deal.
Well, I think we're definitely going to see a different Mahomes Andy Reid offense here without Tyreek
that's
Hill.
the thing. It's
The
gonna
offense
be
is gonna look different.
Yeah, it's
I
going to
think
look a lot different. That's
It's going to
what
be a
I'm
lot
wondering.
more like short intermediate throws, I'd imagine. Like I'm curious to see how Mahomes adjusts to that because he's always
That's
been
the
a
thing.
go big guy.
But
with
that's the thing,
Tyreek.
Is
last year,
if he
too-
can adapt and be like, I'm gonna check it down. I'm not gonna
But we
roll
saw
out and try
last
to
year
chuck
too.
it.
Like I think it was the Cowboy game was their kind of like turning point of the season when they started hitting those short routes. They started running the ball because forever it was
That
like
was
I
a
remember
low-scoring
on
game,
Twitter
too.
everyone was infuriated all the time because Mahomes would be playing hero ball and you would see Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jerick McKinnon. Right, just running a little drag route out of the backfield, wide open.
Well,
and
they
like
were
in the
like,
NFL
what, 3 and
nowadays
4
too,
to start
like
the year
that.
last
Those
year?
are the easiest yards to get.
Mhm.
And I think Mahomes will kind of settle down because like they don't need him
Yeah.
to be hero ball. Like they
Well,
have good
and you don't have the
pieces
threat of
around.
Tyreek Hill now too. It's like when you
Yeah.
have Tyreek Hill on your team, there's like a little voice in your head that's like, I got to get the ball to
Yeah,
him
it's
60
like
yards
I
downfield.
want to make a highlight reel. I
There's
want
no,
this to be on ESPN.
there's no one on the team now that commands that attention to where like I have to throw it. To
I
him
almost
a
wonder if
certain amount of
that's
times.
going to help him in a way.
I was about to
Yeah,
say
I
that.
think it
I was
might.
thinking of that too. Remember
It's gonna
how
help
we,
him grow.
we were talking about like with Aaron Rodgers losing Devonte Adams come playoff time, it could be a kind of thing to where all right, you're forced to spread the ball
Right.
out more. You have more ways to attack. You're not as predictable. Like I low key think that could be like a philosophy for the Chiefs here this season to where come playoff time, like yes, they lost Tyreek. But you have to worry about them running for 5 yards a carry.
Right.
You have to worry about Patrick Mahomes hitting his running backs out of the backfield. You got to worry about Juju going in and out, Sky Moore going in
Juju.
and out, Valdez Scantling,
doing
or
what Kelsey
Cole
does.
Hardman hitting a
Yeah.
60-yard bomb. Like they can
They still have
attack you.
tons of weapons.
They can attack you from. I think their offense is going to be like just fine.
Yeah,
I think
me too.
half the season it may be a learning curve because it's going to be a new offense. It's going to be different. But I think they'll settle into their role just fine.
Yeah, you could even you remember how the Patriots with Brady, like those first couple years when Brady was cheap, they how many Super Bowls they win? 3, and they had that 10-year lull. And when I say lull, it means they didn't win a Super Bowl. They were still arguably the best team in the league.
yeah.
I mean, they were going to AFC Championship game.
Yeah,
after
they went
AFC
16-0 that one
Yeah.
year with Moss, where they lost to the Giants. But maybe you even see the Chiefs do sort of that same trajectory. Like they're up here for the first part of Mahomes' career. They'll dip a little bit and still be super competitive. And when Mahomes gets a little older, then you'll see them rise back up and be that dominant.
I think that's exactly
team.
the path they're taking. Because when his first few years he's on his rookie deal, that's when you load up, you get
That's
pieces
what they
all
did.
around. And now, they're paying him fat money. I have to pay Kelce fat money. I had to let Tyreek walk.
Yeah.
But it's the longevity of it. They're like, okay, we can do this. This is a legit, true dynasty. We can do this for the next 10 plus years.
Yeah.
We can't go all in right now. We got to spread this.
They've
around.
also made the conference championship every year. Mahomes has been the star.
Yeah,
they've gone to 2 Super Bowls. They've lost twice in the conference championship. They've won a Super Bowl. And they've lost a Super
This
Bowl.
division's going to be fun, though,
This
man.
division's going to be a blood. It's going to be a blood.
I think this is the most talented division ever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
and
you'd have
that's
to
why-
go through records and look at history, but I mean,
yeah.
at least in the last 10, 15 years, no doubt.
That's why I think that's why I'm basing most of my how well I think they're going to do this year is how they play in that division. Because if they're better than 3-3 in that division, then they're a contender for sure. But if they go 2-4 in that division, or if they go 1-5, something like that, it's just going to be you wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs, but it wouldn't be an ideal seeding for the Chiefs, which is.
And next, we got the Los Angeles Chargers. They made a lot of additions. The coach made some questionable play calls this past year. What do we think about the Chargers?
I love the Chargers this year. I think Staley, obviously learns from mistakes a little bit. I think he's going to dial it back. And I think just on paper, you look at their roster, the team, if you just put it in
loaded.
Whoa, you put it in you put it in Madden, they go 15-2.
Yeah.
The team, every position, everywhere, Pro Bowlers, all pro guys. The team is stacked. I think as long as Staley keeps it in check, lets Herbert do what he does. I think as long as you have Eckler and now Isaiah Spiller in the backfield to help run the ball up between the tackles, you let Eckler kind of cook, do what Eckler does best, play out of the backfield, run zone, outside stretches, all those sort of things. I don't see any hole in this Chargers team outside of external pressure and coaching mishaps. I think that's the only reason this team isn't going to be dominant. As long as they stay in check, they don't get ahead of themselves, and they do what they can do, and they do what they do well, which is they should. I mean, the O-line's great. Everything is, intact. I don't see any reason why this team can't win 12, 13 games and push to be the 1 seed in the conference.
Yeah, on paper, this team's crazy fucking talented.
Yeah,
on paper.
super
It's
good.
Insane.
They're
And,
my favorites to win the division, honestly.
Mine too.
Yeah. I think Herbert's ready to make that next step as well too.
Herbert
and
for
I didn't even
MVP.
realize this. Their defense was ranked 29th in the league last
It
year.
was awful.
Their defense was fucking terrible.
That's the one
So
thing
bad.
is their run defense.
Yeah,
they
that's the
haven't
only
addressed the run defense as
They-
much as you would have
yeah.
liked. So
And the
that's the
linebacker.
one question mark.
But now they have a crazy good pass rush duo in Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, and their secondary's fucking loaded too.
Oh, yeah, as
I
long
think I
as
said this
health
once,
permitting.
but is there another 5 in the NFL that you would take defensively than Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson, Derwin James, and Asante Samuel Jr.? That's a scary. That's half your defense right there too.
Literally.
I think the biggest
And
thing is
Asante.
health. Because their
Yep.
defense
Yeah.
cannot stay healthy. I don't know what it is about them, but they had so many injuries last year.
Bosa and Derwin are both injury prone. Especially Derwin.
Derwin's so injury
Yeah.
prone.
Derwin's
But
very injury
if this
prone,
defense
but
can
he's
stay
cold.
relatively healthy, I think we could see the biggest year-to-year jump in a defense.
Yeah. Well, how many?
From 29th, this defense has the upside pending health to be the best defense in the league.
Easily.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Especially with an offense that's probably going to run the ball a lot, milk a lot of clock. The defense probably isn't going to be out there that much. They're not going to be asked to do
No.
too much. If they can just do their role, this defense is fucking scary.
And especially if they're playing with the lead most of the time too,
Exactly.
assuming they will be.
Unleash
Yeah.
the pass rush.
Unleash the
If you know teams are passing, as long as they can keep them behind the chains and keep them in 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9, 2nd and 7,
Yeah,
3rd and
they'll
6s.
be good.
I mean,
as
if
long
they-
as they're
And
not
Herbert
short
doesn't
yardage.
really make mistakes either.
No, Herbert's arguably top 3 quarterback in the league. Herbert's incredible.
And their defense, too, was ranked 12th in pass yards last year, even with Derwin James hurt.
Yeah.
And now you have Asante second year. You have Derwin James pending health. J.C. Jackson, one of the best ball hawks in the league. And then Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack collapsing the edges.
Yeah.
Like, that's scary. Like, J.C. Jackson, what did he have? Like, 8 picks last year on New England?
Yeah.
Great scheme.
Yeah.
But, like, if those pass rushers can get after the quarterbacks, like, he could very well replicate that this year.
Yeah,
Especially with the pieces around him,
and
too.
Derwin coming back, he's great in run support.
Oh,
He's an
yeah.
awesome run
Yeah.
support safety.
He's
so
just
if
a great
healthy,
chess piece
in the
on any
box,
defense.
yeah.
in the box,
Yeah.
and then if Kenneth Murray, who I think's really good, I loved Kenneth Murray out of OU.
He needs
mostly
to step up.
I watched
needs to
him
step
like
up, though.
destroy
He's been
Texas.
hurt a lot, too.
Yeah, but if
Yeah,
he can
he was
step
an
up as
animal.
their middle linebacker, that they could really revamp that pass or that rush defense, which is really their only kind of like hole that you could pinpoint on their team. If they can fix that issue, I mean, they're going to go into every game favored, or at least at an even line.
I want them to trade for Roquan Smith so bad because if they get Roquan Smith,
dear
they
God.
are
I don't-
set.
That
That-
would be terrifying.
Dude, that would be
so
smart as
sad.
hell.
I didn't even think
Yeah.
about
Like
that.
they
that
should,
would be
honestly,
that would
they
be
should. I
terrifying.
mean, you have Herbert on a
or the
rookie
Raiders.
deal.
Them
Like
or
this
the
is the
Raiders
time
need
to
to
do
go
it.
after Roquan.
And they're already proven
Yeah.
they got Khalil Mack, they got J.C. Jackson. Like they're trying to win right now.
God, you anchor
And, like,
the
that's
middle
what
of your
you-
defense like that.
Yeah,
Holy
and that's what you
hell.
do in the NFL. Like when you have these young QBs on the rookie deals, you gotta take full advantage
absolutely.
of that.
That's
I
how
would,
people
I
win-
would love to see them get.
That's how people
Roquan
win
Smith.
Super
That would be
Bowls.
fucking awesome.
I just don't
Imagine
know if I want to
Roquan
make.
Smith
Yeah.
and Derwin James in the box. Just imagine that. That's
And
terrifying.
Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa collapsing
the
the
edge,
edges. You got J.C.
that's
Jackson ball
terrifying.
hawking, Asante Samuel. Oh my god!
But yeah, if you trade
Scary.
for Roquan Smith and you're paying him like $22 million a year, which is
I don't think he's going to make $20 million.
well, that's what he's
a mid-
asking for.
that's what he's asking for.
He's asking for 20
Yeah,
as
he's
a middle
asking,
linebacker.
He's asking for Fred
Yeah.
Warner money
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It is a lot,
Pass
but they
right?
because the
They
Bears
should
offered him
consider it.
16.
I mean, he is one of the best middle
Yeah.
linebackers in the league. He's just a middle linebacker.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bears offered him 16 mil, and he said no. and
I mean,
now he
he's
wants
as
to get
good.
the hell out. Yeah.
He's
Oh
as good
my
as you can
God.
get linebacker for run defense.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
and he's young too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he could get better from how good he is now. But that's just something.
Price
If
tag.
they did something like that, he'd be an animal.
I mean, you say price tag, though, but it's like if Herbert's still on his rookie deal for 2-3 more years, like I know Khalil Mack's deal's coming up at some point. I'm sure they'll let him walk eventually
Yeah.
when his deal comes up.
Well,
J.C.
they can
Jackson's
always-
older. So, like, if you time the contract right to where it's like maybe we have Roquan Smith for a 4-year deal for $20 million, and like you pair
The
it to
way you
where when
structure
Herbert
it.
leaves, or when Herbert's deal is up, and then you can like, Mack walks, J.C.
Yeah.
Jackson walks.
Yeah,
and
there,
you can
there's ways to
mold the
manipulate
cap.
the contract.
You can mold the cap
like
that
we saw
way.
with Amari's contract.
Absolutely.
You just front load it.
I mean, just the way
yeah,
we've seen.
and then guaranteed
Yeah.
money too.
I mean, the way we've seen so many contracts now, especially the Rams, who
Yeah.
are the kings of
Well,
doing
and
it.
it's the thing with the NFL. Like we see the Saints every goddamn year. Somehow they go out and sign Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May. Like there's ways to
And
finesse.
Jarvis.
There's
Yeah.
way to, in the Rams.
Yeah.
Like they signed Bobby Wagner. They lost pieces, but like there's ways to finesse the cap.
Well, yeah, the
where,
Saints were
you
like
can
minus
make it-
60.
You
in
can
the
make
cap.
it
Like,
work.
it was nuts.
My only
Or the
worry with
Saints.
that is like the fact it's such like an arms race right now in this division to where it's like if they don't win, like let's say they trade for Roquan and they like don't win right now, and then they're kind of tied up for the future.
I don't know how they
But-
don't win. I mean, like
Yeah.
you're gonna at
They're still
least
set for the future.
Well, yeah, they're
right?
making
just
the
at
playoffs
least
for
like
sure.
they could cakewalk to 9 wins. If they, I mean, like if just off pure talent,
Oh,
like
yeah.
just physical one-on-one matchups, you're gonna win 90% of the time.
Well, the fact that they were literally one of the worst defenses last year in the league. They should have been in the playoffs if Staley doesn't make that bonehead move against the Raiders. And now, like, oh my God, on paper, this defense is fucking so scary.
Yeah.
Well, keep staying with that defense. Well, their biggest addition, arguably, getting Khalil Mack. Is that Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa pairing on the edges the best edge rushing duo in the league?
It's up there.
Probably. I mean,
I
you
think
could
it's
say
up
Chandler
there.
Jones and Max Crosby,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
The same
it's up
fucking
there.
Division.
yeah,
It's
I mean,
up
I'm
there
trying to
for
think.
sure.
I mean, maybe if no, because the Rams don't have anyone else.
I would say T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward, but Hayward's
Cam Hayward,
interior.
he's more inside.
interior.
Just purely
Who do they-
edge. Purely edge.
Who does the Browns have opposite Myles Garrett?
Jay Davion, I think, again.
Okay, so
That's
no.
still pretty.
I mean, you
the
still have
Nick-
Myles
Yeah.
Garrett.
Nick
but, like,
Bosa, D4.
Miles Garrett's
I mean,
a fucking monster.
Yeah.
They cut D
I mean,
Ford.
I'd probably say
They cut D4?
They cut
Yeah.
D Ford.
When they do that?
like last
Recently,
Oh,
yeah,
fuck.
recently.
I
yeah.
would probably say Mack and Bosa are the best.
Yeah.
Probably.
week. I think
If,
so.
if Mac's healthy.
Yeah,
Mack's
If Mack-
healthy.
yeah. If
Or wants to
pending
play.
health,
And then after that, it's probably Crosby Jones.
I would say Crosby Jones.
I saw
Bosa,
one bet.
Bosa
I saw
also
one bet
needs to stay
today.
healthy too, though.
Yeah,
he
Bosa's
always
got
gets
injury
I
banged
saw
up.
one bet
too.
today. I think it was on Twitter. This guy was saying Defensive Player of the Year, Max Crosby plus 6,000. he was like top 3 in like QB pressure, like
He was an
quarterback
animal.
hits.
I think he was all pro
His
last
sack
year.
numbers weren't great, but the guy was like, dude, hammer this. Like, he's gonna have Jones on the other side now. Like they can't
plus
just focus on him
6,000.
solely.
I mean,
Yeah,
plus
that's good
6,000.
value.
60 to 1 odds.
I mean,
that's
shit,
incredible.
I might sprinkle a few on that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason he couldn't have 17 sacks, 18
Yeah.
sacks, and if the Raiders are 12-5, he's their top player
Yeah.
on defense. He absolutely could win it.
now we're going back to the Chiefs. Now we look at both the Chargers and the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert. Which team do y'all think has the better future?
I personally think.
Who would you rather?
Okay, it's like short term or long
Like short
Yeah,
term?
we're talking
Yeah.
5 years or 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, let's say 5 years. Who'll be
I'd
better in the
probably
next
say
5
the
years?
Chargers, just because
I'd say
of
the
contracts.
Chargers.
I would say the
They-
Chargers too, because the
yeah.
Chiefs are the Chargers are kind of where the Chiefs were like 3 years
Yeah,
ago.
exactly.
When they have their
And
QB
the
on
Chargers
the young
have
deal, they're
better,
loading
younger
up talent
players.
all around. Now the Chiefs are kind of in like a new philosophy and a new thing to where like
Yeah.
they're kind of backloading for the future. In a
with
sense.
Herbert's fifth-year option, they have this season and then year 4 and year 5.
Yeah.
So they have the next 3 years of
Yeah.
Herbert getting
Yeah.
nothing. So that just right there, like you have the
I would
ability
take
to stack
Mahomes
it.
over Herbert.
I would
Still,
too.
obviously, but for
Yeah.
the talent they're gonna have around Herbert
Yeah.
because of the cap reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're built to win right now.
Yeah, their window is really the next 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they
'Cause
should be able to
once
get it
in
done.
any team. Once
or
you get
you'd
that
ideally
QB on
hope.
that fucking giant ass contract, it's hard, man.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
hard. There's some stat out there, but it's like QBs.
Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah, it's always
I've
they
seen
take
that.
up like a small percentage of the cap every time.
I think this year with Stafford was like the first year that a Super Bowl winning quarterback made over like it's like the $25 or $30 million or something.
And
that
won
just
it.
shows like NFL obviously QB reigns, but like at the same time it still is just like a team.
I mean,
game,
it's almost like a
Mhm.
cheat. It's like because these quarterbacks are so good when they come out that it's like if you hit on a quarterback, you have now 5 years of not being able to pay him,
Yeah.
and you can just stack the deck
just go
for
all
your
in.
team. And you see that's, I mean, even the Ravens. I know they haven't won, but like they've been able to stack the deck
And
with Lamar the last 3 years.
Yeah.
and
The
they're great.
Chargers. The
And
Chargers
what
have
and
been.
what the Bengals are doing now.
Yeah.
We saw the
The
Seahawks
Chargers
do it
have
to
been
us.
doing.
Yeah.
The
Rams did it with Goff.
The Chargers have been
Sorry.
doing really good in the draft of late too. I mean, Rashawn Slater could be the best tackle in the NFL this year by
I mean,
far.
he was all pro.
Yeah,
He was all pro
great.
last year. Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah, I mean, he could be the best offensive tackle. Asante Samuel is fantastic. If Kenneth Murray takes that step up, he's going to be really good. But that's a big if because he hasn't performed as well as he should. But they are good at drafting. They know what they're doing when it comes
They
to
are.
the
They-
draft.
they can develop
Who did
play.
they take this
They drafted
year?
Zion Johnson, the guard.
That offensive
and
lineman.
their O line was
Get
ranked.
protected.
O-line is-
Their O line was ranked 7th last year. Their
Yeah.
O line had a 3 because their O line 2
It
years
was
ago
terrible.
was not
No,
good.
Herbert's
Yeah.
and then
rookie
they
year was
and then they got
awful.
Slater and Lindsley, and it was like
Yep.
bam, totally.
And they have
Yep.
then they
apparently
have
that Zion
Balaga,
Johnson
too.
guy's looking pretty damn good too. No, they
I mean-
lost Balaga.
Oh, they did. Oh, damn.
Yeah,
I
they
thought
have a
still had him.
guy. Their right tackle, I think it's Storm something is the guy's name, but the right tackle is their only weakness.
Storm
I believe.
Johnson?
It might have been Storm Johnson or Storm Norton, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But their
That's a
O-line's
cool name,
fucking.
so
their
hopefully he's
O-line's
good.
I mean, you
solid.
got arguably the best center in the league, and you have Slater locking down the left side
I think
of
what
the
it's
line.
going to come down
so-
to is number one, the health for the defense, and then Brandon Staley.
yeah.
Like if Brandon
Yeah,
Staley,
that's what it is.
Brandon Staley is the reason they didn't make the playoffs last year. If he doesn't call a timeout,
he just can't get in his
against
own
the
way.
Raiders, yeah, then they're taking
tie.
the tie and they're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
like that's on him, man.
I mean, let's pull
Like, you
back
could
on the
pull-
fourth down conversions.
Yeah, like you can do all the analytics shit you want, but sometimes it's like it's football. You got to like look away from the computers, the numbers.
Yeah.
you
You need to
make
make a
football
judgment
call.
call. Yeah, it's a judgment call.
It's a judgment
Yeah.
call, and it's like
4th and 12. Like,
where
just maybe
there's-
not go for it.
It's just not logical in any sense why you call that timeout. Like they are in
Of
the
course.
playoffs, that doesn't happen. And I think that he has a lot of pressure this year now too.
Absolutely.
Because if,
he'll be
like-
fired if they don't make the playoffs.
Oh,
100%.
100%.
Should be.
I think
Oh, yeah.
even if
Especially
they,
with that
if they have a
roster.
good year and they make the playoffs and he loses first round, he's probably going to have a few bonehead moves throughout the season too. Like I could see them getting kind of, flustered and maybe wanting to kick him out even then.
Good.
Because this roster arguably has the most talent. I think
it's the most
I think
talented
anyone
team
that's
in the
ranking
league.
Yeah,
talent in
both
the league,
sides
I'm
of
gonna
the
put
ball.
Chargers 1.
Yeah.
Both sides talent everywhere.
I think an
Both sides of the
underrated
ball.
move for this team too is Isaiah Spiller, the rookie out of A&M.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
If they can
He's a
if they
monster.
can utilize him in a ground and pound between the tackles option, so one,
Hey, don't forget about Josh Kelly.
Josh Kelly still got Justin Jackson too.
Oh,
They,
yeah.
they lost Justin.
Oh.
Yeah.
But like if you can utilize him between the tackles and you can let Eckler reduce his load because we know Eckler's had injury problems and you let Eckler do what he does best, one, you're going to get the best out of Eckler. Two, you're going to keep your defense off the field more. And you're going to be able to play ball control more, and you're going to be able to take the pressure off Herbert too.
Yeah.
If you can run the ball efficiently up the middle, let Eckler cook, and then let Herbert do all the bootlegs, all the play actions, and use that Hauser he has, I mean, the offense is going to be almost unstoppable. You're loaded with weapons outside. The O-line's great. Like, as long as Staley doesn't get in his own way and they can run the ball, I mean, they're going to be almost unstoppable, both sides of the ball, health permitting.
There's a lot of good fantasy players on that fucking
Shit,
team.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Yeah, there
Who's
are.
their
There's even
tight
some
end?
under the radar.
I was
under the
just
radar
I think it's
guys.
It's Donald Parham.
They lost Jared Cook.
Wasn't that
That guy's
XFL
6'7".
guy.
XFL guy?
Yeah, I think.
guy's
Oh, no.
6'7".
It's Gerald
Yeah.
Everett. I forget.
Oh,
From the Rams.
That's a good
He's
sign.
already
That's a good
solid.
sign.
He's
That's a
probably
good
better
sign.
than Jared Cook at this point.
Yeah,
he's a good receiving
he can
back.
get the
Yeah.
job done.
he's
Yeah.
a receiving tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, they're
And then you got Keenan and Mike Williams. I mean,
their expectations
Palmer,
are sky.
too.
They're
Josh
in LA
Palmer's
now
pretty
too.
good
They're in that
also.
new stadium.
Yeah.
Like their expectations are sky.
I mean, they were kind
high.
of
should
they were
be.
kind of high last year, but this year they have no excuses.
They're putting all their chips.
They're
in
all
one team.
in.
They're going
Yeah.
all in, bro.
yeah, they should. Yeah.
All right, let's move to another team that made a lot of big additions. The Raiders.
I love the
Raiders.
Raiders.
I
The
mean,
Raiders.
they added arguably the best receiver. They added Chandler Jones, one of the best edge rushers. They got a big head coaching hire in Josh McDaniels. This was the one he actually picked.
Yeah.
What do we think about the Raiders?
So I know I have a different view than y'all on the Raiders. Yeah. I like the Raiders, but I am slightly scared. Their defense was ranked 26th last year in the league, but they were the second-ranked red zone defense. So they were very reliant on the red zone defense, which got them out of a lot of sticky situations. And kind of like I said about like the Rams and the Cowboys, like I think they're also kind of top-heavy as well.
Yeah.
Their O-line is bottom 7 in the league. Their offense was ranked 18th. It was mediocre statistically. They got lucky last year, honestly. A lot of
They played
more
well
times
in
than
big
not.
spots.
But they're literally their secondary is not very good. Like I think if one of their DNs goes down, which Chandler Jones has been injury prone, or Devonte, like they're very reliant on a few players to play massive roles. In pending health, Chandler Jones and Devonte Adams and Waller and these guys, they're going to be good.
Renfro.
But they don't have the depth, and that's what scares me for like the rest of this division. You see depth everywhere. Chiefs, you may not, but they have Patty Mahomes at the end of the day.
Right.
But Chargers and Broncos, like
Chiefs
they
draft
have
well,
depth.
too. They'll be able to fill guys
So
in.
the Raiders are my least favorite team in this division. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to get last in the division. I still like them, but compared to the talent that's spread out elsewhere, I just think they lack it.
Yeah, I think definitely one, defense. Obviously, that's a huge concern, and then two, like both the
They
concerns
got
you brought up.
lucky last year.
Yeah,
They
and I
weren't
think that's a
supposed to-
testament
they
to
weren't-
Derek Carr. Like that's just how good Derek Carr is.
He's a good quarterback.
He's incredible,
Yeah.
and he was able
He's
to
clutch.
he was able to make a mediocre team into a playoff team.
And they had Rick Bisaccia. Let's not forget about Rick.
And
Bisaccia.
Derek Carr's got some pretty damn good numbers. Even before last season, his numbers were pretty damn good, and he was doing pretty damn well with a lot less than other quarterbacks of his caliber were. So I
Derek
mean,
Carr slept on.
Derek Carr's
He is,
really
he
good.
is.
He's a good
arguably
quarterback.
Really
top
solid
10
quarterback.
quarterback. Yeah.
he's very
Yeah.
slept on too. So I mean,
yeah.
But
they're
even
just, it's
so, like
iffy.
they did add Jones, but they lost Yannick Ngakoue, who Chandler Jones is better than him. But it's like I don't know how much better at this point. He's better. I don't know how much better he is than Ngakoue. And so I don't know if like just the Jones-Crosby pass rush duo, I don't know how much it really like elevates your
I don't know if
defense
that
from-
alone can
I don't know
control
if
the
that makes it
defense,
from
yeah.
26 in the league to like what top no way it gets top 10. I think it'll be middle of the pack probably.
Yeah.
And their linebacking core, their secondary, they don't really have any very solid players. They're relying on those two edge rushers. Those two edge rushers
Yeah.
are the heart and soul of that defense.
I think
and
You get those two edge rushers like that. That means you're practicing to play with the lead.
That's what I was
basically.
just about to
You
say.
have to.
Yeah.
If
and
you're
they
not
can't
playing
run.
with
They
the
can't
lead-
run the ball though.
They do have Josh Jacobs though, who's a perfect playing with the lead.
And
ground
Zamir
and pound
White.
Josh
back.
Jacobs is a good running back, but his whole career their O-line's been bad.
Yeah.
And their O-line still is bad. It was ranked 20. Like, their O-line's not good. Like, Derek Carr, and I think just pure luck is the reason they got in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much swapping Jones for Ngakoue. It
I
helps.
just
Devontae
I
Adams
I
helps,
think if you have all the
obviously.
weapons outside that they do, it's going to help the run game somewhat. I mean, when you have
gonna spread
Waller,
it out.
Devontae, and Renfro,
Yeah.
like the defensive coordinators going in each week, like we got to stop the pass.
Yeah.
Like they have way too many weapons. Derek Carr's too good. Like we need to make sure we stop the pass. So if they can get the lead, unleash the pass rushers and pound the ball. And then third and
Yeah, they're
short,
gonna have to
they've
play
got.
with the lead.
I mean, they've arguably got two of the top 5 best short yardage receivers in the league with Renfro
Yeah.
and Devontae.
And they
Adams. Like,
also-
say what you want about Renfro.
Yeah.
the
No,
guy
he's
can run a
good.
hell of a
He's
squirrel
really- yeah,
route.
he's great.
Like, he's
Yeah.
amazing. So like short yardage situation, Derek Carr's really good in those two. He's a clutch guy. Like we've seen him do it
Yeah.
in tight spots. I think they're going to be really good. I just, like you said, defense, can the defense hold up, and health. Like, you're right. They are top heavy. If Devonte goes down or Chandler Jones goes down or Crosby goes down, that is going to be a really big problem for them.
I just don't like their upside as much either. Like, even if they're fully healthy versus like the Chargers or Broncos, like let's say they're all health isn't a thing. Like, I like the Chargers and Broncos a lot more than the Raiders. They have way more talent, probably better quarterbacks as well.
I definitely the Chargers. I mean, honestly, the Chargers' upside's like 16 and 1.
But the Broncos, though, like if everyone's
they could
healthy,
be the Bills. I mean,
if everyone's healthy, like I think the Broncos are definitely a better team than the Raiders.
I think the Raiders have better players. Like I think if with the roles that the players are in, like if they play up to standard and aren't injured, I think they could be right there with the Broncos. And that's also with the Broncos playing up to their full potential. Because if you have Max Crosby and Chandler Jones combining for 30 sacks, and you have Derek Carr doing what he does, Devontae going for 1,500 yards, Waller going for 1,200, Renfro going for 1,000, Jacobs running for 1,000. Like, I think that's all within the realm of possibility for them, especially with McDaniels calling plays and bringing his scheme in.
I was about to say,
they got
I like
the
the
golden boy.
McDaniels over Nathaniel Hackett. I think
No doubt. I mean, McDaniels has been arguably the number one coaching candidate for five seasons.
He's just been waiting for the right opportunity.
Yeah,
and this is the one he picked. And like, I mean, you trust him doing that. I think if they're star players, like you said, like it's depth and they're relying on these guys to produce massively, but they can produce massively. And if they do, this team should be really, really good. So,
All right, and then so with adding Devonte Adams, they have Devonte Adams, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfro, Josh Jacobs, Derek Carr. Is this a top 5 offense now?
I think statistically, number-wise, it could be because, like we said, they're going to have to play with the lead. But if they get down, like I think they are going to be top 3 or 5 in pass attempts. Like I think they are going to throw the ball so fucking much. How can you not with those weapons and an O-line that can't really produce that many holes for Josh Jacobs? Yeah. I think statistically, like fantasy wise, like Derek Carr is going to be a monster, and I think Renfro, Waller, and Devontae are all going to eat equally.
I mean, Renfro is literally a replica of every good Patriot slot receiver.
Yeah, Edelman, Amendola, that's who he is.
Yeah. And I think like when you say a top 5 offense, if you're saying statistically like how the Cowboys were the number 1 offense in the league last year, I think the Raiders will totally be in that conversation. But if you actually look at like, give me an offense for a game, I don't know if I'd pick them over like the Chargers or maybe the Chiefs or
I wouldn't
the
either.
Bucks
I'm
just because of the offensive line.
From a numbers
perspective,
standpoint.
absolutely they'll probably be in that top 5.
I also think too,
they'll be a fun fantasy team.
Absolutely.
I think with the Raiders too, they also made one addition that's it's very slept on, but if you think about it a little bit, it's really smart because those Devonte Adams in the red zone, Darren Waller in the red zone, and Hunter Renfro and Josh Jacobs in the red zone, that's a scary duo. But they also added Mack Hollins, who's not a crazy good receiver, but he's a 6'5" wide receiver who can go up and get that. So they're going to have 5 red zone threats every time they're in the red zone, and that just makes their offense even
Mack
better
Hollins?
to score more.
Was he
Now,
on
I'm
the
not saying
Eagles
he's
last year?
the Dolphins.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know if I'm buying that.
No, I'm not buying into him like being a beast, but I'm saying in terms of being in the red zone and when you need to score, they're going to have 5 to 6 options in the red zone every time. If Mack Hollins gets a below size corner with his 6'5" frame, and he made plays last year on the Dolphins too. He was an addition added to the team for depth and for scheme fit, because in the red zone, who the hell are you going to stop? Who are you going to stop with those 4? And then if you add Hollins in there with his frame and his size, that's just a red zone threat in my opinion. But there's more options. There's more to it than just those big 4. But also they had some other unheralded signings too, and on the defensive side. But at the same time, they have a scheme to where once they get in the red zone, they're going to be pretty impossible to stop until that O-line needs to get.
Jacobs has a nose for the end zone.
They're going to be a scary red zone offense.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Mack Hollins is going to have like 1,000 yards or anything. I'm just saying you put his 6'5" frame out there along with
you catch a couple touchdowns.
He's another
Exactly.
Mack Hollins had 4 touchdown catches last year.
14
catches, 4 tubs.
I guess
that's great efficiency.
He's something that
Love
defensive coordinators they'll have to mention his name,
especially in the red zone. Though, not in the open
he's not going to be the
field.
focal point. But
inside the 20.
This guy is here.
Losing
We have
sleep
to
over
account
Mack
for him.
Hollins.
Yeah, and he has to do that on top of those 4 guys. So I mean, they're going to be an animal in the red zone this year. That's all I know. Good luck stopping them in the red zone.
The only thing too, though, with back to their defense is like I am very worried about their secondary.
I am too.
I mean, especially against Russ, Patty Mahomes and Herbert.
I don't even know anyone in their secondary.
They got
Jonathan
They
Abrams.
got
Rock
Rock
Ya-Sin.
Ya-Sin. They traded Naganu for Rock Ya-Sin.
Yasin fits their scheme too. So
They
physical,
their
man-to-man
secondary
corner.
is very, very talent deprived. It's not very good. That's why I'm scared. In shootouts, it's like, okay, like, yes, like their offense is going to be good, but it's like if you're facing the Chargers, it's like you have Herbert going against this Raiders secondary versus you got Carr going against Derwin James, J.C. Jackson, and like these other. Like I'm taking this other team, even with the Broncos, like Russ versus their secondary versus Carr versus Surtain, Kareem Jackson,
Simmons.
Justin Simmons. Like the Broncos might have the best secondary in the league.
Yeah, it's arguable.
Well, let's move into them then. They made arguably one of the biggest additions in NFL history, getting Russ. How do you feel about the Broncos?
I like him a lot, but they have a McDaniels is not a first year coach. He's been a head coach. They're the only team in that division with a first year coach. So that's why I wonder how successful they're going to be this year.
I think you could probably say Staley's pretty much a first year coach too. I don't know how much. Staley's pretty.
He's got a year under his belt though now at this point. But I'm saying
I like Hackett. I think Hackett was a good sign. He's offensive guy, smart guy.
Who knows?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Who knows? We'll have to. That's the only thing is we'll have to see how that works out because like everything else, they're loaded in terms of especially with their defensive scheme too, and on the offense they have very sneaky good weapons for Russ. So sneaky good weapons. Cortland.
They're gonna have a good run game. I
think that's the key for the Broncos.
Exactly.
I know you got Russ, and it's let's let Russ cook. Like if the Broncos are going to be really good, which they very well could be.
The Broncos now?
Yes. Which they very well could be. It's going to be because of Devonte Williams and to a lesser degree Melvin Gordon and them pounding the shit out of the ball.
And we saw
that's going to be their bread and butter and letting that defense eat and them pounding out the clock and pounding teams into the dirt. Devonte Williams, just runner is one of the best runners in the league. That guy runs harder than almost anyone. He is a punisher.
Dude, in their O-line last year, they were ranked 13th in rush yards last year. That's honestly shocking as fuck to me. They were ranked 13th in rush yards last year with Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock.
They're going to run the ball.
They're going to be top 5 in rushing
Absolutely.
this season, easily. Yeah. And Russell Wilson, when he has a great run game, is fucking scary. And we've seen Russ take Tyler Lockett, who is considered like a gadget guy, and make him a Pro Bowler. We saw him take Doug Baldwin, who's an undrafted free agent, and make him another Pro Bowler. Like, imagine
guy.
what Russ is going to do with Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton.
Yeah,
like Russ elevates people around him all the time. Like I think the
Broncos,
Broncos,
super talented.
I think the Broncos
guys.
are going to be fucking scary. Their defense was ranked 3rd last year as well. They didn't really lose anyone. They added Randy Gregory. Like I think the Broncos are taking the division.
Who else do they have in pass rush other than Gregory?
Chubb, but he gets
their
hurt
strength,
all the time.
Their strength is their secondary, though. I think they may have the best secondary in football.
They got Justin Simmons. They got Patrick Surtain. You said they got Kareem Jackson?
Kareem Jackson.
He's pretty old. That guy's
he's
37.
Kareem's a good in the box safety though.
That guy's old. Because how long was he with the Texans? That guy was with the Dolphins for 10 years.
Hold on.
5-6 years.
Let me look. Hold on.
Who's their other safety?
They got Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson, Pat Surtain, Ronald Darby.
Okay.
That's a pretty good cute corner too, or slot corner. Yeah.
Surtain's awesome.
They got DJ Jones from the Niners last year. He's actually a pretty solid player.
Yeah. They also they have all the tools to be good. I personally have them 3rd in my ranking in that division. Purely because of the first-year head coach thing, like with Staley too. I think Staley's learned from his mistakes last year. I just wonder how that's all going to unfold. But they do have Russ at the helm, who would help any first-year quarterback being able to coach Russell Wilson. So they have that to their advantage also.
I think there's one thing about the Broncos, and I know it's a schedule thing. And I know looking at schedule their last 7 games are brutal. Their last 7 games are awful. Now, their front, 10 games they're nice, but let's see how typically new quarterback, new coach, it takes a little bit to kind of get filled in.
Exactly. Yeah.
Get everything on the same page. If they aren't just wrecking teams in that first 9 to 10 weeks of the season, they're going to get steamrolled. Not steamrolled the last half of the season.
They don't have to wreck. They just got to win. You just got to win.
Okay, but let's say they're 7 their last
I have
7
their schedule
games,
pulled up right
Yeah,
here.
what is it like? It's
here.
Cardinals.
So I'm gonna go over they should for sure win these games. Okay. Week 1 Seattle.
Yep.
Week 2 Houston.
Yep.
Week 7 Jets.
Yep.
Week 8 Jags.
Yep.
They're going to be a heavy favorite. They're
Jacksonville's
going to be
better this year.
Week 12 Panthers.
Yep.
And then after that, it's pretty. They got the Cardinals week 15, but that's 5 games. And I looked at all of them. Every other team in this division, they have 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it's gonna be the difference maker in this, because this division is gonna beat up all over each other. They're all gonna probably go damn near 500.
Yeah.
And they have the most gimme games out of all of them.
My only thing is new quarterback, new coach. I think they have to start well. I think because you hit those last 7 games. It's like Ravens, Chiefs twice, Chargers twice. It's like
Cardinals.
the
dog
Cardinals
days.
and
Yeah.
another good. Oh, the Rams.
But I would rather
7
than
games,
have those easier games up front too to get it working. So by the time it's late in the season and you're facing these division foes, you're firing at all cylinders.
But let's
you're
say
molded.
you run in. So you're in week. I guess those are the last 7 games. So you're through week 10. Let's say you're 6-4 through 10, right? And then you run up against Ravens, Cardinals, Chiefs twice, Chargers twice, and Rams.
You have to go 4-3.
You're hoping for 4-3 probably.
Yeah, you have to go
You're
4-3.
I mean, you're gonna go 3-4,
I think
4-3.
I think through the first 10 weeks they're going to be probably. I think they're going to win more than 6 games.
Okay. I mean, I think they're going to have to be almost 7. They're going to have to win at least 7 or 8 through those
in
10.
First 8 weeks, there's half of them are locks.
They got Niners week 3.
They do have the Niners. They got the Colts week 5. They got Vegas week 4. But also too, I have the Raiders schedule pulled up here as well. So
the thing is, all those gimme games, it seems like every team loses one of those gimme games for some reason.
Yeah,
every year.
But if you make
Chargers
say that,
lost
then
to
you
the
can say
Zans
that
last
about-
year.
Yeah,
always
there'll
beat
be
a good
another
team.
game that they
Yeah.
win.
But I'm
they
just
shouldn't,
saying, if you're trying to project this,
the best you can on
foresight,
paper.
Are we going to do record predictions for all 4 of these teams?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. But I have the Raiders pulled up here too, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna run through it real quick with y'all because I'm interested. So week 1 Chargers, who knows? Week 2 Cardinals, week 3 Titans, week 4 Broncos, week 5 Chiefs, week 6 bye, week 7 Houston.
Week 6.
We'll give them that one.
I'll say 3-3 through those 6. Just whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Zans catch a dub,
3-3.
baby.
Week
Zans
8
with the dub.
Saints. I mean that.
That's a pick 'em.
Week 9 Jags will for sure. So they have 2 gimmies in the first 9 weeks.
Okay.
Week 10 Colts. Week 11 Broncos.
Okay.
Week 12 Seattle. We'll give them
Okay.
that one. Week 13 Chargers. 14 Rams. 15 Pats. I mean,
I'd probably take them
They're
over
going to be
the Pats.
favored, but
Yeah.
it's still the Pats.
Yeah.
Week 16 Steelers.
Probably take them over the Steelers. But yeah.
Then again, there's
Steelers could totally win that game.
And then
Yeah.
Niners Chiefs.
So they have 3 gimme
So they have
games.
3 gimmies. And that's why Broncos had 5. They have 3.
Yeah.
I think Chiefs have 2. And then I think the Chargers had 3 as well.
Yeah.
That was my main reason I picked them, is because of the 5 gimmies. They have.
I mean, and that's with such a close division, that does make a big
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
The only thing, my thing is with the Broncos, if they're not firing on all cylinders and they haven't wrecked the first 9 to 10 weeks through the season,
It's gonna be
and
dog
they
days.
go into that
Yeah.
week, and they
They're
go
gonna
into
have to
week
play well to
11
start out, for
shaky,
sure.
they could end up missing the playoffs. I don't think.
Yeah,
I think
they
they
could.
they absolutely could make playoffs. They could win the division. They're just as they're talented as almost everyone else, if not more. But they are going to have to be. Russell Wilson's going to have to figure it out quick. Nathaniel Hackett's going to have to get the team ready quick. They're not going to have much time to make these adjustments, because if they drop a couple games early, they're going to be fighting an uphill battle all season long.
It's gonna be dog.
I
It's gonna be dog
totally
days.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. But I think if there's one QB that can step in and make it happen, I'm confident
It's Russ.
can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's Russ.
Especially facing Jacksonville, Houston,
Yeah.
all these teams
It-
early on.
Does anyone have any question? Do we have any concern that Russell Wilson isn't the kind of quarterback he used to be?
No.
No, not
I'm
at all.
curious.
I
He's
I think there was,
I'm
there was
not,
slight concern
but
about
I think
that
there's a
last
little
year.
concern because he
But the
looked
team
rough last year.
But he was coming off an injury.
Right.
It was only 2 after.
He also
I think
rushed
it was the last,
that
It
injury,
was the
too. He
last
rushed
the
it.
last 4
Yeah.
or 5 games he played. He was rock solid.
yeah,
The team was just shit.
the defense.
Yeah.
Was just abysmal.
And then that Pete
all
Carroll,
lines.
The
that's
O-line bad, yeah.
the Pete Carroll still wanted to run the ball the whole time. There's nothing wrong wanting to run the ball, but when you have Russell Wilson, you want to balance for sure. But they were running the ball more than they were throwing the ball when they had Russell
Well, and you know,
Wilson.
and your offensive line's terrible.
And it's horrible.
if you have no offensive line and no running
Devonte
game,
Williams is gonna fucking run wild.
I'm
Yeah.
so
He's
pissed
gonna
off
run
that
wild.
Melvin Gordon is back with that team.
Just for fantasy
Just for
purposes,
fantasy.
yeah.
If Javonte Williams was the spearhead of that backfield with no one
Monster.
else,
God.
Monster.
He's a monster.
he's incredible.
He's a
Well, the
beast.
fact too that they had the top 12 rushing offense last year with Teddy and Drew at QB,
Yeah.
and their O-line wasn't even good either.
Yeah.
Like that was solely on Javonte Williams being a fucking
Melvin Gordon was
monster.
pretty good last
Oh,
year
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Melvin
I
Gordon was
think
good.
Melvin's honestly kind of slept on.
He
So
is slept on.
He's still a
He's a
very
good
trying to
running
use
back.
him as like a
solid-ass running
pass
back,
catcher.
yeah.
They want to use him as like a pass catcher a little bit this year, which I don't really mind at all, but it's interesting.
But Melvin Gordon's honestly, I feel like he's a very underrated. He's never really talked about that much, but he's been
He has
solid.
Consistent. He's
He's been
Chargers
solid
years.
for a long,
I
he's
had
been
him-
good for a long time.
I had him like back-to-back years when he was on the Chargers. He had like 15 touchdowns each
Yeah.
season. He does have a nose for the end zone.
He does.
That guy gets in the end zone.
He's a
more
really,
than
he's a
most.
really good
Javonte.
player.
Yeah.
They both
I mean,
are just
Javonte is
monsters
just
in the
an
red
absolute.
zone.
Yeah, he's a dog.
He's just an absolute battering ram. That guy
Yeah.
is like up there with like Nick Chubb, guys that you just don't want to tackle.
He's like 225, and he runs into you just full, like with all
And he's
that
got a
momentum, and he's
burst on him.
fast, and
Yeah.
he can make you miss. He doesn't just have to run by you; he'll make you miss, and he'll just run your ass over.
Yeah.
So you don't know what's going to happen when you're on open field with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was a Pro Football like focused favorite in like almost every category for running backs
Yeah.
last year.
Mhm.
Now, going back to Russ, if y'all had to put money on it, does he replicate what Peyton Manning did with his time in Denver?
No.
He has to put.
Are you saying like year one Peyton Manning where he
Well,
was
just out of the entirety of it, what
statistically a
they made two Super Bowls. They won.
Okay, you're talking
yeah,
about the
Yeah,
entirety.
the entirety of it. Like
God?
they went to 2-1-1.
Okay, I think he could, but I don't. I'm not going to bet on that
Yeah,
because
the
that
potential's
those
there, but-
Broncos teams were
Yeah.
fucking
Well,
loaded.
that's a hard thing to predict because like there was the mountaintop of that was like almost unseen.
Best
like no one had
offense
seen
ever.
that
Yeah.
before, and the low
And the defense was really
and the
good
defense
too.
was really good. But like the low when Peyton Manning was there, I know they won the Super Bowl, but it was like
That was
this
bad.
guy can't throw.
But that just goes to show how
Like,
good that fucking
that
roster.
that
They won.
defense was
Peyton
so
Manning looked
good.
like he should have been in a wheelchair, man, and they
was
still
throwing
won
ducks.
the Super Bowl with them.
I know.
Like,
yeah.
and I think the thing too, obviously now is like the division that they're in. Like in those days, it means
It was
the
their
so
Chargers,
division.
competitive.
the Chargers had Phillip Rivers, the
Yeah.
Chiefs had Alex Smith. Like it was a decent division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was nothing like it
No.
is now. Not even
No.
close, or even
No.
just the AFC as a whole. Like,
The AFC is so much
Yeah,
better than
the
the
AFC was
by
wide
It's
open.
insane.
Yeah.
The AFC is
ridiculous.
so much better than the NFC this year.
That's why I'm just glad the Cowboys.
Yeah,
are in the
thank God
NFC.
we're in the NFC.
Oh my God, we'd be a
No, I was just gonna say, like, I think you could drop any one of these four teams, the NFC East, and they win the division.
yeah.
No
I
question.
think you could make a case you drop any of these teams in the NFC North with the Packers and the Vikings, they could win the division.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I think if you drop the Raiders in there, I think the Raiders would be competing neck and neck with the Packers for the
Yeah.
division.
I mean,
Yeah,
probably.
I think the Raiders are almost like a slightly better.
That would be awesome to see
Vikings.
Devonte Adams
Yeah.
go against Green Bay too. If that
Right.
was possible, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so like all these teams are awesome. Like unfortunately, like probably one of them isn't going to make it. I think
Right,
there'll be two
yeah.
teams from the AFC North. I
Yeah.
think you're going to see either I think Bengals. I think the Ravens are coming this year. I think
agree.
Lamar's.
I think
Lamar
Ravens-
Lamar's
contract,
coming.
I think it'll be Ravens Bengals.
I think Ravens.
I don't
Bengals.
think the Browns are getting in.
I don't think so either.
It's going to be too
And the
late when Deshaun
Steelers-
gets back. He hasn't played in 2+ years.
Yeah.
Like
Steelers will be competitive, but I don't
Yeah.
think they have enough fire.
with Tomlin, they're always competitive. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if Pickett, Trubisky duos.
That would be
Gonna get him in the
wild
playoffs.
if all four were able to make
But
it.
yeah,
though.
this division, dude. I've
Is
said
it-
this so many times, but the fact that we're going to get to see like how many games of this division are we going to see this year? I mean, what is it?
It's
Four
eight.
teams, 8 games.
Eight,
Like
yeah.
every
games.
one of those games are going to be prime time, like must watch football.
Absolutely.
Every
Yeah.
single fucking one.
Well,
Yeah.
going off that, I know you mentioned it earlier, Cole, but is this the best division in NFL history?
I think it
From my
is.
memory, it is.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
enough.
Obviously, we don't know the 80s,
I'm
90s.
sure there might have
shit.
been
We
a
weren't
yeah,
alive,
a division in the 90s that
Yeah.
was like, oh my god. But from my memory,
but
from
for
all
our
I
recent
know,
memory,
yeah,
yes.
from my entire
Yeah.
knowledge, absolutely.
I mean,
mean,
the
if
NFC West before Russ got hurt last year was like we thought we were saying that was the best last
Yeah.
year, but this is better than that.
This
I mean,
is better.
no question.
Yeah.
This is
This is better because I mean the NFC West, you had Russ, and then you had the Niners, Rams, and the
Yeah.
That was a really good division. Yeah, I think this division's better
I do too.
because that division had all great quarterback play around. They're not great, Jimmy G, but the roster made up. But this division, it's like great quarterback play and
And
great
great
personnel
teams.
around that.
Yeah.
And for the most part, looks like it should be good.
I think the
coaching as
biggest
well.
thing about I think that's the only thing about this division that you're maybe not like. it's
Hackett,
coaching.
Hackett and McDaniel's are first year. McDaniel's
coaching,
staff.
yeah.
I trust McDaniel. I think
Hackett's
if
the only
you
coaching
rank, obviously
question
Andy
mark.
Reid's the best coach in the division by far.
Mhm.
I pick
Yes.
McDaniel second, and then you can throw around Hackett and Staley.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know if I'm very high on the coaching in this. I think
That's the thing. I'm not.
That's the only thing.
That's the weak spot of this
Reed
division.
obviously is the
Reed's-
mecca.
yeah,
of it.
That's where the Chiefs
rest
have the
of it-
edge on the
rest
division.
of it,
is
the rest of these
coaching.
rest of these guys is I know McDaniels is offensive coordinator great, but like the rest of these guys is like head coaches haven't proven anything.
Yeah,
And I think
absolutely.
if anything, Staley's proven if anything that he
I would
shouldn't
rank
be a head
Staley
coach.
last. I would rather have
Yeah.
Hackett than Staley.
So I guess
personally,
that'll probably be the biggest factor when you break it all down. Is like how are these coaches going to make these calls? Like
And
how,
that
especially
what are
come
they gonna
playoff
do?
time.
that
too.
comes full circle back to what we were talking about with the Chiefs. Like, regardless,
Yeah.
they might not have the most talent. You still have
they-
Andy Reid. You still have Patrick Mahomes.
And that's all you need.
It's really like
if you have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, you will compete year in year out. Throw
You will-
whatever else you need around
Yep.
there.
You'll
Give them
either be favored or
Yeah.
at most a 3-point dog in every game.
I think this is a funny question. If let's say you were to swap. Let's just use the Jags. Let's say you were to swap Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson for Patty Mahomes and Andy Reid, and you put Patty and Andy Reid on the Jaguars.
Yeah.
How do you think the Jaguars? You think they'd be the favorites in their division?
I think
Colts are
they-
still
you just
fucking
swap
good.
those two.
Colts are still
I-
fucking good. I,
mean,
don't know.
The Jags
That's
kinda got
iffy,
some
though.
talent this offseason, though.
I like the Jags this year.
Yeah.
Like, I like them this year.
I think if you were to do that, I think the Jags would win that division. I think that's how great.
I think it's them.
I think
it's
that's
them or
how
the
great
Colts.
that head
Yeah.
coach QB duo is.
Yeah,
It's fabulous. It's one of the best we've ever seen.
absolutely.
Like-
yeah,
No,
yeah.
without
That's a
doubt.
good question. I mean,
Yeah.
they would definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
I would say they would at least win 9-10 games.
Or even drop them on the Giants.
Yeah.
Oh, they'd win that. They'd win that
Yeah.
division.
I think
They'd win
yeah,
our
I
I
division.
think you could plug those two on like any of the bottom
God,
5
the Giants
dumpster
would be
fire
scary.
teams.
That'd be fun.
You'd
And,
have
like,
a whole
that
new
team would
outlook
be
about
very
Kenny Galladay and
competitive.
Kadarius Toney and
Oh, yeah.
Saquon if Patty Mahomes was the quarterback.
Don't talk.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Just
Don't talk about it.
Everyone would be jerking off Saquon
Yeah.
all year. Oh my God, Mahomes and Saquon in the same
Oh.
backfield.
He'd be like
Kenny
Brian,
Galladay?
he'd be like
Yeah.
Brian Westbrook 2.0 for fantasy.
Yeah. People would be
Jesus.
talking about Kenny Galladay like
God,
they
I
talked
would-
about him when they said baby Megatron.
I would
Detroit.
love to see the Chiefs trade for Saquon.
Oh God.
Oh my god,
That would be-
That
I've
would
always
be
thought like
wild.
Saquon or like Kamara. I've always thought if
Yeah.
you could put Kamara on the Chiefs,
What if the Chiefs just had
Give
Nick
Mahomes
Chubb?
a good running back. Like,
What if the
fuck,
Chiefs
they
had the
should
old
just trade.
Chubb?
They should just trade for Kareem Hunt.
Get him
They
back.
should
get him back.
Bring him back.
Get Kareem Hunt back.
Bring
We,
him back.
we forgive.
Yeah, we never saw that. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're back.
You're back. You've paid your dues.
Yeah.
You're back.
I'm still
All right, do
naming
we
my
want-
fantasy team after Kareem Hunt, by the way, this year, in case you boys were wondering.
Yeah.
You're going down, big man.
Couple years running.
That's the one. I love it.
Do the record.
Yeah. All right. Y'all ready to do some record predictions for this division?
Are we just gonna want
Yeah.
each
Yep.
of us do a team? I call Chargers.
No. We're just gonna each do the 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
Wait, are we not going like through the records and picking game by game?
No. We're just gonna do our record.
Can,
predictions.
I mean,
we
I
can.
kind of want to do it.
just for fun.
Yeah, just for fun.
For
Let's
every
do it.
for every team.
We'll each do a team.
All right. Well, let's do that first then, so
Yeah.
we have an idea of.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do.
Who wants to go first?
I'll do the
I'll do-
Raiders.
I'll do Broncos.
Yeah.
Chargers.
Well, let me pull up their schedule.
So you'll do Chiefs.
All right. Week 1: Cardinals in Arizona, Chiefs.
Okay.
Chargers in Kansas City. I'm just gonna say their win. I'm gonna have them split with all the AFC West teams. So, I'm just gonna say a win.
So
for the first
2-0.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
Colts. I'm gonna say loss.
Okay.
Bucks in Tampa.
God, that's a brutal.
Yeah,
first
not
4.
great.
Jeez.
Look at here are the next 4 too.
I'm gonna take the win. Raiders in Kansas City, win for the first one. Bills in Kansas City.
Oh.
I'm gonna take the Bills. Niners in Santa Clara.
Oh.
Give me the Chiefs.
5-2 through that 7 is pretty. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's fine.
But you
That's
did have them
tough.
winning all the division games, so if you're gonna have them lose,
Yeah.
So.
So then bye week, and then Titans after a bye in Kansas City. Give me a win.
Yeah.
Jags win. Chargers second time loss. Rams in Kansas City. I'm gonna say loss. Actually, no. Give me a win there. They play the Bengals in Cincinnati. That's a loss.
So they split Rams and Bengals.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Broncos in Denver loss.
Okay.
Oh wait, no. Yeah, whatever. I'll pick them to win the next one. Texans win. Seahawks win. Broncos second time. What I had in the first?
You
win.
had them losing.
Okay, so then win the second one, and then Raiders second time. I say loss just to even it out.
11-6.
11-6.
That's why I picked him to go too.
Yep.
That might be the hardest first 8 games.
That is
ever.
insane.
I mean,
That is
all
nuts.
8 of those games, those are like all like
That's probably
legit
the, like,
playoff teams.
Those are like 8 of the top 10 teams in the league.
Yeah.
That's terrible. And the Chiefs are one of those other 2.
I mean, who's the worst one? The Titans?
yeah, probably.
Probably.
Like, what?
Yeah,
Who did
They were,
probably.
they were the 1 seed last year.
They
Like,
got week. They
Who
got
did they play week 1?
Cardinals.
or maybe the
They may
I
have
mean,
been
hey,
Cardinals.
Still,
early season Cardinals are good though.
That's true.
they
Early
want to
season
hop
Cardinals.
though.
Yeah. Pre Call of Duty drop, Cardinals are real good.
I love that stat. That's so fucking funny.
All right.
Whoever found that, shout out to that guy.
Yeah.
Like,
All right. You got
that's fucking
Chargers.
creative.
Yeah, I'll do Chargers.
Okay. All right. Are you keeping track of it?
I can keep track of it.
Okay. Raiders in SoFi.
Win.
Chiefs in Kansas City.
L.
Jags in SoFi.
Win.
Texans in Houston.
Win.
Browns in Ohio.
Win.
Broncos at SoFi.
Win.
Seahawks in SoFi.
Win.
Bye. Falcons in Atlanta.
Win.
Niners in Santa Clara.
L.
Chiefs back at SoFi.
Did I have him beating him or did I have him losing?
Fuck, I
I
should
think
have
I
paid
had.
attention.
I think I had him losing.
I think you. What do you have him at right
Wait.
now?
Yeah, no,
He's
yeah.
making
'Cause I
sure.
had him. I had him at 1-1.
Okay.
So I have him winning that one.
Okay. So then
8-2 right now.
Okay. So then
You have him at 8-2.
Yeah.
Cardinals in Arizona.
Win.
Raiders in Vegas.
Take the L.
Dolphins at SoFi.
Win. 10-3.
Titans in SoFi.
Win.
Colts in Indy.
Take the L.
Rams at SoFi.
L.
And wrapping things up with the Broncos at Mile High.
Win. 12-5.
12
You're gonna start 10-3.
Yeah.
That'd be a hell of a start. Shit. I mean, they got
Yeah,
the potential.
shit.
I
to do
honestly,
that.
I kind of want to put him at 13-4, but this got me to 12-5.
It gets it's fucking Staley's though is the X factor here.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, Biggie, you got the Raiders, right?
Yeah, I do.
Biggie and the Raiders.
The Raiders.
All right. 9-11 Chargers
Uh,
in
that,
SoFi.
Who's keeping count? You mean to just keep count?
I was gonna just do it. Yeah, I was gonna do it. I got them taking an L to the Chargers.
Cardinals in Vegas.
I'm taking a W.
Titans in Nashville.
I'm taking a W.
So long, Nash.
Broncos at home.
I'm taking a W just because Russ is still gonna figure it out.
Chiefs in Kansas City.
I'm taking an L on that one.
Bye week. Texans in Vegas.
L. Just kidding. No, they're gonna win for sure. They're gonna win by 40. Yeah.
Saints at the Superdome.
I'm taking an L on that one purely because of the Saints defense.
Jags in Jacksonville.
W.
Colts in Vegas.
W.
Broncos at Mile High.
Let's see. I had them winning earlier, but they're gonna lose this time.
Seahawks at Lumen Field.
That is a W.
Lumen.
Chargers at home.
That is a W. Get it back at home.
Rams at SoFi.
That's a L.
Pats in Vegas.
W.
Steelers in Pittsburgh.
W.
Niners at home.
L.
Chiefs at home.
L.
10-7. That's what I have him at.
Yeah, that's what I
10
have.
and 7.
Wild card potentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they could be better than that, but their schedule's very tough at the end too. So
It all sucks.
All right, big dog.
T-Bone.
Bronco it
You
up.
ready?
All right,
All right. Broncos schedule.
let's ride.
that's
Monday
right.
night. Monday night in Seattle.
Dub.
Texans in Denver.
Dub.
Niners at Mile High.
At Mile High. Dub.
Raiders in Vegas.
L.
Colts in Denver.
Are you keeping count?
Yeah. Give me the win.
Chargers at SoFi.
Have they played the Chargers yet on this?
No.
Okay. L.
Jets at Mile High.
Dub.
Jags in London.
Dub.
That's London. You know the Jags play in London.
Yeah.
Bye week. Titans in Nashville.
Dub.
Raiders at Mile High.
Did I have them beating the Raiders the first time?
I can't answer that question honestly.
I think I did, so we'll do it now.
Okay. Panthers in Charlotte.
Dub.
Ravens in Baltimore.
Do an L there.
Chiefs in Denver.
Dub.
Cardinals at Mile High.
Dub.
Rams at SoFi.
L.
Oh, it's a Nickelodeon game. Fuck yeah. Chiefs at Arrowhead.
The Slam.
L.
And Chargers at home.
Dub.
So yeah, 11-6.
I think 11-6. I don't know. 11-6, 12-5. I don't know. I think the division is gonna be like a tiebreaker thing.
Yeah,
I
honestly,
honestly,
my rank.
I would love to see
anyone that
all 4 of these teams make the playoffs because they all are the talent to be playoff
they'd
teams.
all be great.
Yeah.
And anyone that says that they know it's gonna happen is lying. Like, they're
Yeah.
lying to their
Absolutely,
teeth.
yeah.
Like it's all speculation.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just gonna do that for the record. So we're gonna go over our picks.
We can do
So
our own.
Do our own.
Yeah, even though mine's different now, but
Yeah, I know mine's a lot different. Okay. All right. My AFC West predictions: Chiefs win the division at 12-5. Chargers 11-6. Raiders 10-7. Broncos 10-7.
See Broncos finishing last.
Yeah, I think I have the Raiders win the tiebreaker.
Okay.
Whoever wins the tiebreaker.
Yeah. All right, I got Chargers winning the division 12-5. I have Chiefs coming in second, 11-6. Raiders and Broncos both at 10-7. Raiders with the tiebreaker, so Raiders 3, Broncos 4.
I got the Chargers winning a division. I have the Chiefs finishing second in division. I have the Raiders finishing third, and I have the Broncos finishing fourth.
I got the Broncos winning the division at 12-5. I have the Chiefs 11-6 at second place, the Chargers 11-6 third place, and the Raiders at fourth at 10-7.
All right.
Those 16 picks, everyone over 10 wins or more.
Yeah.
That's playoff caliber.
Not one of us said a single
I bet
digit.
one of them goes 9-8.
I bet one of them goes 9.
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because of the division.
Someone's going to drop 2 possibly. In
Those
the
are some
division.
tough. That schedules for all 4 of those teams are tough.
All right.